I think we are live. Let me just check a couple things, including my voice. I need to press that button so I don't hear myself twice. Hello, lovelies. Hello. Good morning, good day, good afternoon. I wanted to come on today, and right now is a very special time. These next 1 hour, 20 minutes-ish, we are at the 0 degree and 0 minutes space of the north nodes, or the lunar nodes, north node and south node. So it's a very special space in between kind of time, in between dimensions, in between possibilities, to get in what we want to get in, what we want to really anchor in for the next 18 months, and how we want to go forward, and all that kind of stuff. So really powerful time. And for me, this is why I'm here. I also felt it just this morning that I wanted to come on and do another live about this, because there are so many questions always about, in case you're wondering, chocolate always close by. There are always so many questions about the authorities, and it seems to always be the puzzle, or when people ask me about my programs or how to work with me, you know, instead of listening to the authority, it's a lot of mind-based and fear-based stuff. And that's very normal, right? I deal with that too. And then I need to constantly remind myself, where's my authority and what does it tell me? So in this 0 degree nodal space that we're in, it's just really beautiful to shift into feeling into what you want to do going forward, who you want to be, what your possibilities are, how you're going to align yourself more with that person that you want to become. And a big piece of that is making decisions in line with your higher self. And that is really what human design is here to do with you, for you. What your soul is really communicating through you. And really then also the trust, that belief in yourself, in your soul, to have the courage to listen to your authority. Not just like, oh, I had that inner splenic knowing, but I'm completely ignoring it, and I'm going back in my head asking all these questions. And then if you have a completely open head or ajna head, then it's like your mind is never going to help you. Your mind is just like going to go along with wherever you direct it, because it's just a processor. And even when you're defined up there, your mind is never here to make decisions for you. It's just not capable. Your mind is a computer. Your mind doesn't carry your soul. Your mind doesn't carry your wisdom. It holds information and experiences in your subconscious, but it's definitely not here to make decisions. So hello, I see there's a couple of you watching. How beautiful. If you feel called, say hi. And you're very welcome also to post any questions that you have about your authority in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer it. And I'll just go, the projector is a very specific creature, as you may have already gathered from being one. We are the only type with 5 authorities. Look how my hand, it's bright outside. We're the only type with 5 authorities. And what I want to start with is to really hone in again that the strategy, the waiting for recognition and invitation, is really for interaction with other humans. So you wait for the invitation if you want to guide or lead someone, or give them your feedback, your advice, right? That's what your strategy is for. And your authority is what I mentioned before, your tool to make higher aligned decisions that are aligned with your higher self, that bring you to more sovereignty. Because when we constantly make decisions with our higher self in mind and in heart, I should say, then we're constantly guided toward our highest possible outcome. So in this space between nodes right now, in this 0 degree space in these next couple hours, I want to invite you to really tap into, like, what are those possibilities for you, and where do you want to listen more to your higher self, aka your authority, right? So sovereignty, that's very much what we're moving into for the next 18 months with this nodal shift. Sovereignty is trusting ourselves and our guidance over our conditioning, over what other people tell us to do, over how it's already been done, right? And as projectors, we are here to really create a new way of doing things. We are the new leadership. And this is not an arrogant term. It's more like we are softening leadership. We are softening guidance. It's no longer about this because I told you so patriarchal thing. And that's why our leadership only works when we're being asked, right, for our advice. And that is like where leadership is most aligned, and for the receiver and the giver, right? Because when people ask you your opinion, or you sit with someone and you listen, or you are invited to guide someone, the wisdom that comes through is just unbelievable. It's so special, but it can only land with the other person when they're ready and when they're open and when they're willing. And this wisdom heals you too. As a projector, when it comes through you, it's light, it's wisdom, it's consciousness. And it goes through you, it heals you, because you're sometimes like, oh my God, this is amazing. I don't know where this came from, right? But it's meant to be for both of you. It's meant to be a win-win situation. Leadership is no longer meant to be just a, I win, you lose kind of thing, or I'll trick you into buying my thing, then I get money and you get like the lower end of the stick, or whatever. That kind of doing business is is going out of fashion. This kind of business is going in fashion, where it's a win-win-win situation, where people love investing in themselves, when they're really aligned with the person they're investing with, when the product, like I've done this for years and it's so important. And I know we're going to go into the authorities in just a moment, but I've done this for years, like voting with my dollars. I'm German, but I live in the US, but voting with my dollars into the products where I know the companies are ethical, they do good things, they support causes that are valuable to me. And so it's really that way of doing business and supporting with our dollars, like the people that we love, and really what is in higher alignment with us. But this is all where your authority comes in, because every one of us projectors is guided in a different way. So I want to just clarify some things that keep coming up in my programs, or when people ask me. Just yesterday, this is our last week of the 8-week Projectors Unlimited container that I just was guiding, and it's been so beautiful. But even there, like yesterday, some stuff came up around authority, and I was like, let's do another live. So welcome to all of you who are here. Like I said before, please, if you have any questions regarding your authority, please type it in the comments. But I will go over the 5. How luxurious, we have 5 authorities. I will go over them, and then I'll see if there are any questions unanswered. And you're also just welcome to say hi. If I know you, you probably want to say hi. If I don't know you yet, or you don't know me yet, you're also very welcome to say hi. I'm Alex. So the most common authority for projectors is the splenic authority. Just for reference, I'm a 1-3 self-projected projector. So definitely physically know the most about that, but from experience and anecdotes from my clients and friends, I know a lot about the other authorities too. I'm always open to hearing more wisdom too, because we never stop learning. That's my Gemini speaking, and my 1-3. So splenic, that is when you have the spleen defined and not the emotional solar plexus, then you are a splenic projector. That means that your way of decision making is in the moment. That can be, and my daughter is a splenic projector, root and spleen only, the 1858. Her mind can change. She's very in the moment, you know. She wants this, and then you go somewhere else with her and she can, oh, let's do this now, right? It's like very in the moment wisdom, in the moment knowing, but it also has very strong nose. So really, and especially if you have an undefined G, you really want to listen to your nose, especially when it comes to locations and who you're supposed to spend your time with. But it's very important to just listen to those no's as well. You know, if it's like a loud no, don't talk yourself into it. And that wisdom, that intuition in the moment is very much about listening to what is that voice, what is that message that speaks just before the brain kicks in. And you heard this earlier, but the mind is not here. It's a processor, right? It's guided by your heart. In the best case scenario, you lead from here, from heart, from soul, and then you attune your mind, your brain to your heart to work in alignment. And deconditioning is anything in between that, you know, doesn't align your brain with your heart, where your brain or your subconscious or your fears or your body or your habits aren't aligned with your heart. And I'm speaking heart chakra now, like soul, voice. That's where you're conditioned, and that's where deconditioning comes in. But the splenic will be normal for you to change your mind often, right? And it's totally cool. Don't beat yourself up, right? There's just a knowing in every moment what's right for this moment going forward, and that can change. That being said, you can also always call on your heart, on your G center, even if you have it undefined, for backup, because that is just where your soul speaks to you. But you can train yourself to really understand your splenic responses over time by going backwards, or by even tracking, like, okay, in this case, my spleen, my initial knowing was write it down. And what I decided to do instead was this, and this is what the outcome was. And if it's like, oh, my initial knowing was this, and I followed it, and this is what the outcome was. And then over time, this is how you'll train yourself to know, and then you'll just get faster and faster. Because this is the beautiful thing. And I used to be the most indecisive person in the world, just 2 centers defined, and I had no idea in my 20s, right? So I was always thinking and rummaging up here, and like I had no idea what was going on, how to make decisions. And then, and I'm 44 now, so in my early 20s, accidentally, I just found out that my heart was the most reliable guide that I had, and I started following my heart. So before I ever found human design, I had unknowingly followed my authority for over 20 years. So that was pretty cool to find out. But so what I'm saying, though, is in the end, we will always find out what our most aligned way of making decisions is. But with the knowledge of human design, it's so cool because we can shortcut this, right? We can keep making decisions in our minds, and then we will just learn, okay, that was not so aligned. And that's why when we have the courage to follow our human design authority more, then we can shortcut this learning process and just learn how to make the most aligned decisions that bring us to sovereignty and toward our higher self more. And we can learn how to do that sooner and sooner, which is always a good thing, because discomfort comes either way. A lot of people are like, oh my God, my higher self is going to guide me into my growth, and that's going to be uncomfortable, right? Maybe, yeah, but discomfort can't be avoided either way, because otherwise you'll have some of those other planets in your chart, like Uranus. I always like to call him the hammer. He comes along and then he'll hit you over the head. And then you're going to be in discomfort anyway, because you haven't been doing your growth, and then it's forced on you. So it's really up to you when you want to do it. Throat coat and Tulsi Rose, in case you're wondering, my favorite, and raw 100% chocolate. So let me know if there are any questions about Splenic authority. And hello, beauties. Oh, Jess, you're here. This is so aligned with what I have been saying to someone today. Haha, I love you. I love you too. That's awesome. See, it's funny. I was just messaging my manifestor friend this morning found out that Chris Martin from Coldplay is a 1-3 Splenic projector with the same cross of consciousness as me and one of the same channels. And she's like, never listened to him, but last night I listened to him doing a cover for the first time. It's like so funny how these things work, huh? Anyway, good old Chris Martin, 1-3 Splenic projector cross of consciousness. Karin, hi, so nice to see you. How can I help an ego projector to trust their authority? Okay, so let's do ego next, because that's the most mysterious to me too. Because it's kind of cool, because it's also, if you don't know this, the ego and the G center, so, or the will and the identity, or whatever you call them, or the heart and the yellow diamond in the middle, they're both, in chakra terms, they're both the heart chakra. So it's kind of interesting to me, because my self-projected is also the heart chakra, right? But the ego is slightly different, and I don't know anyone personally. But from my research, what I've gathered is like, this has very much initiative qualities into the spiritual realm, especially, or into the heart realm, because it's very much about a projector with ego authority. This only happens when there's the 25-51 channel. And that is, 51 is the gate of shock, 25 is the love of spirit. And the ego is a motor, right? So you always want to look the direction of the motor to where it goes from to where it goes to. So the motor, the initiator, gate of shock or initiation, 51, to the gate of identity and direction, the G center, or the center of identity and direction, the G center, through 25, love of spirit. So once you understand that about an ego projector, that's already cool, right? But especially important that even though it's all about initiation, it has to extra be weighted for the invitation, because we are not manifestors and we don't have that motor to the throat. So it's very much about initiating people into the heart. But for that to be working, and I don't know if the projector is like a coach or what they do, but the thing about projectors is always like, we need to walk our talk first. We need to lead ourselves like no other type. We really need to self-qualify ourselves by going through our lessons and doing our thing. So when I first wanted to teach projectors or work with projectors, it just wasn't the time yet, because I wasn't embodied enough yet in enough areas. And I don't know if I'll ever be like 100% perfect projector, but embodied enough to be authentic and real enough to be able to guide people from the heart, and a lot less percentage of ego or human, and more from the soul. That's basically what it's about. So for any ego projected, projector, it's very important, especially to initiate themselves into the heart first, but then also waiting for the invitation in order to guide. And in general, they can be selfish because this ego is more about the self. It's about, what do I need? What material resources do I need? What's in it for me? That's like really natural for them to ponder about. And then especially when the invitation comes, to think about, you know, for me, it's a lot less about me. It's, even though I'm a 1-3, but it's more about like service to the other and supporting the other. But for an ego projected, it's much more about, okay, for them to ask, like, what's in it for me, and get more comfortable around being selfish, you know, making sure that they're taken care of. And then listening also, because it's the heart chakra, listening to the pull from the heart, right? So when they ask, what's in it for me? What's the other question I wrote? What do I want? What's in it for me? And if that's aligned with the invitation, then to feel if there's this pull forward in the heart chakra. Does this make sense? Is this helpful, Jess? All right. So let's do emotional next, because that's what we talked about yesterday in Projectors Unlimited. And I've had a couple clients too that were so emotional, and my boyfriend and my ex-husband and my son, but they're not all projectors. But it's very individual, the emotional authority, because it really depends on the length of your emotional wave. For my ex-husband, for example, it's overnight. He has that clarity. For my boyfriend, he has multiple emotional channels. It can be anywhere between 2 or 3 days to 2 or 3 weeks. Sometimes when they come together in a funky way, it could even be a couple months until he has that clarity in the body. And that's very much what it's all about, is that calm feeling and that calm knowing in the body after the emotional wave has passed. So if you're not emotional, you might not know this, but it goes up and it goes down. Some of them are smaller, some of them are like slow climb and then hard fall. That's my son. Oh, big emotional breakdowns. And then, you know, after your wave is through, whatever the wave looks like, it could be also a more animated or more calmer. It's not always up and down. It's sometimes more outward, not more inward, right? But for many people who are very conditioned and who have other things going on and maybe a lot of worry and fear, it can be very intense up and down and almost feel like depression when it's at the lowest, at the lower part, and can be confusing to people. And when they find out that it's emotional, it's like, finally, good, I know. But it's all about that calm knowing in the body. It's like, okay, I've been really high on life. I've been really low or calm on life, and I'm through and I'm back to neutral, and I still want to do this. Then that's correct emotional authority, yes. If I'm like high on life as an emotional authority, I'm like, yay, I just came out of my low. I want to do everything. Everything's a yes. The world looks beautiful. I want to sign up for everything, right? That's what the emotional wave wants to prevent you from because of its nature. It's you're a little more, for lack of a better term, moody, even though my splenic projector, plenty moodiness too. But it's more like you come from a low space of like, sometimes even when's this gonna end kind of thing, right? And then you get on that high, and the emotional wave just wants to help you prevent from signing up or doing things that might just be because you're high on life. And so I was like, oh, okay, just let's wait until you've gone through the whole cycle and not be impulsive. So that's what the emotional wave and the emotional authority is about. Then we have mental projectors. That's a very unique thing for projectors, where there's either the head and the ajna defined through one of the channels, or the head and the ajna in the throat, or the throat and the ajna. And it's also called outer authority or no inner authority, because there's nothing, like everything under the throat, sometimes under the head, everything's undefined in the body. So there's no consistent, reliable place in the body that mental projectors have access to. So it's very much about having that reliable soundboard, that person in your life that you can reflect on. And it's sometimes people say, especially for self-projected, that's me, we can like do voice memos, because I can feel into my G consistently when I talk. How does that feel in my G? I've trained myself so much over the years that I oftentimes can pre-do it in my head before even talking. So it's kind of like, okay, it's like, imagine this, and I'll go into this later. But for mental projectors, they have no consistent definition in the body center-wise. So it's very nice and important to have that human in their lives that is a reliable mirror, not like someone who gives advice or somebody who's on their team, but neutral, right? Somebody who doesn't want to talk them out of something, but where they can really speak it, like sound things out to the person, and then they see the reaction in the other person. That being said, mental projectors too can, because everywhere where we're undefined in the body, that's where we're meant to become wise about those energies in exchange with the outer world. So I can be wise about my G center because I can figure it out within me, you know, because I have constant access to my G center, it's defined. A mental projector doesn't have constant access to their G center, so they have to get wise about that. It doesn't mean they don't have a sense of self or a sense of direction. It's just becoming wise about it in exchange with the outer world. So the outer world might be an invitation. The outer world might be a situation. It might be a relationship. It might be a political thing on TV. It might be the transits in the sky, right? So the mental projector can still use their G center as well for answers, right? And training it like, okay, if I talk about it, how does it feel in my G center, for example, which is always a good spot to tap into, because that's where the soul communicates through. And that's also the magnetic monopole and the center for self-love. And they can also, as a mental projector, listen to that yes or that no in there. Not the no is usually just a flat line for me, but the yes, you know, the expansive feeling in the body, like a mental projector, when they think about things with a defined ajna, which is what the mental is all about, like, okay, and like, how does that feel in my body? Does that feel expansive, right? But the soundboarding is really also a beautiful thing. So that's why it's called outer authority, just because there's no consistent inner place in the body that they have access to, but they can still get wise about it too. What are you guys saying? Hi, Laetitia, bonsoir. Oh, thank you for sending love. Well, yay. Sorry you can't stay, but you know a lot of this already. So nice to see you, loves, all here. So last but not least, and I know we have a bunch in here, including me, myself, and I, our self-projected projectors. It's very much about listening to your heart. And since we have our G connected to our throat, it's very much helpful to talk things out and feel like when you speak, or my boyfriend calls it thinking by talking. It's funny because it, like, he has gotten so used to that, and I've got more self-mastery now, but over the years, like, that I've just said shit that even conditioning came out just like blah, from my heart, like the bad spaces, the dark stuff too, you know. But really, as a, that's just the way things are connected energetically in my body. But as a decision-making tool, the self-projected authority is very much about, like, when you speak about something, does it feel right? Does it feel good in your heart, right? Or when you imagine a scenario, does it feel good in your heart? Really always like, or you like, you have a thing that you see or you want to do. Like when I knew I wanted to put my children into, when COVID started, there was one of the previous teachers in our school started an outdoor learning pod, and the Zoom didn't work for my kids at all. It was a complete shit show. Nobody could handle anything. Nobody could focus. Nobody got any work done. Nobody was happy. So there was this outdoor learning pod, and we're in California, so it's pretty good to be outdoors all year round pretty much. And it was that second half of 2020, and that outdoor learning pod, I just had like, it was literally, that was one of the strongest pulls, including my last relationship had that too, like the one I'm in right now, when I thought about if I needed to be with him or not, like a literal pull. But for smaller stuff in life, it's oftentimes just listening to, like, is there a buzzing? Is there an expansion? Does my heart say yes to this? And like I said, a no is usually just like no sensation, or I just don't want to. Like, I thought I might want to, it sounded good, but then I don't want to. Sometimes for G center authority, it's also nice to wait a moment, because the heart can also get excited. But it is, there is an immediate knowing available. Like if you have to make a decision in the now and you can tune in your heart, that's good. For me, some things I know, like an immediate yes, but for me, it's always good to, because I'm so open. It's always nice for me to sleep over things 1 or 2 nights, just to feel into, like, is this just excitement that built up in my body and I felt expanded everywhere? Or is it like a true yes from my G? So yeah, there we got them, the whole 5 authorities. How long we've been doing? Half an hour. Cool stuff. I have a call in an hour for this. I'm running too many programs at the same time right now. Soulful Sales by Human Design, and I'm going to still prepare that call a little bit more. But it was a pleasure to be on here with you. I'll be opening up a very special 12-week one-on-one container soon, but I'm still figuring out the details and the structure and everything, because my 32 in my North Node likes to be prepared. And I really love to have everything in place before I bring it out there. But things are very exciting. Things are moving. Things are getting juicier by the minute. And all this transformation is really, really worth it. Like, I've gone through so much pain. I'm so grateful Uranus is going direct again today. Chiron was retrograde last year since mid of July till like December. And it was the toughest time in my life. And then on top of that, Uranus was retrograde since August until today. Oh, and then Venus has been retrograde since, I think, 19th of December. So many lessons, so much growth, so much discomfort. In the between time, I had COVID and was in isolation, and I missed my kids like hell. But there's so much beauty that comes out of these times when we allow it. And now I'm just so juiced up about everything that I'll be ready to offer very soon. And there's a couple of other things too in the announcement section. I have, if you're interested, maybe some of you, a lot of you actually have already taken it, the Projector Marketing Groove, which is the fundamentals of projector marketing that you really need to embody in order to really build that sustainable projector business. There's a special coupon in one of the posts, or in 2 of the posts in the announcements, just for the people here in the group and my email list, where you get it for $77 instead of $111. And it's really a powerful investment, because I want to make sure that I serve you on all levels. Yeah, I think this is it for today. If there's any other things that you need from me, please let me know. Let me see. No more questions. Great stuff. I like questions, but no question seems to mean I did my job well. If you're watching the replay, you can hashtag after party, as we like to do. And if you have any questions later, let me know. Message me if you need anything else from me, and I will see you all very soon. Lots of love.